beautiful. We're reading today in the text, chapter 9, the acceptance of the atonement, section 1, the acceptance of reality. Paragraph 1. Fear of the will of God is one of the strangest beliefs the human mind has ever made. I'm going to read that again because that is so potent. And if we understood this one sentence, really truly understood it, we would never be afraid of anything ever again. Fear of the will of God is one of the strangest beliefs the human mind has ever made. Because what does God will for you? Nothing but perfect joy, peace, and happiness. It could not possibly have occurred unless the mind were already profoundly split, making it possible for it to be afraid of what it really is. Reality cannot threaten anything except illusions, since reality can only uphold truth. The very fact that the will of God, which is what you are, is perceived as fearful demonstrates that you are afraid of what you are. It is not then the will of God of which you are afraid, but yours. Your will is not the ego's, and that is why the ego is against you. What seems to be the fear of God is really the fear of your own reality. It is impossible to learn anything consistently in a state of panic. If the purpose of this course is to help you remember what you are, and if you believe that what you are is fearful, then it must follow that you will not learn this course. Yet the reason for the course is that you do not know what you are. If you do not know what your reality is, why would you be so sure that it is fearful? The association of truth and fear, which would be highly artificial at most, is particularly inappropriate in the minds of those who do not know what truth is. And this could mean, all this could mean is that you are arbitrarily associating something beyond your awareness with something you do not want. So it's pointing out here that, like, at best, you don't know. At worst, you're horribly wrong and creating misery when you could stop resisting and be in bliss. It is evident, then, that you are judging something of which you are totally unaware. You have set up this strange situation so that it is impossible to escape from it without a guide who does know what your reality is. The purpose of this guide is merely to remind you of what you want. What you want is to be happy. He is not attempting to force an alien will upon you. He is merely making every possible effort within the limits you impose on him to reestablish your own will, your true will. I'm pausing here and saying your true will in your awareness. You have imprisoned your will beyond your own awareness, where it remains, but cannot help you. When I said that the Holy Spirit's function is to sort out the true from the false in your mind, I meant that he has the power to look into what you have hidden and recognize the will of God there. His recognition of this will can make it real to you because he is in your mind and therefore he is your reality. If then his perception of your mind brings its reality to you, he is helping you to remember what you are. The only source of fear in this process is what you think you will lose. Yet it is only what the Holy Spirit sees that you can possibly have. So what it's saying here in practical terms is that you can't lose what's not real, and fear isn't real. But we're sitting here going, well, I don't know if I want to change because that's scary. I don't know if I want to let go of grievances because who will I be without all the stories I tell about what a victim I am or what a victor I am. Or that I'm worse than others, or I'm better than others. Who will I be without these stories? Well, let's find out. The only source of fear in this process is what you think you will lose. Yet it is only what the Holy Spirit sees that you can possibly have. You can't have a delusion. It's not real. You can think it's real and be deluded. But if I'm going, I have $1 million in my hand, and I go to the bank to deposit it, the cashier is not going to deposit it. She's going to say, you don't have $1 million in your hand. Yes, I do. No, you don't. Yes, I do. I mean, basically that's what we're doing when we are afraid of what we're going to lose. By letting go of grievances. By letting go of fear. You're not going to lose anything because it's not real and you never had it. It is only what the Holy Spirit sees that you can possibly have. Because only love is real. Let me think if there's an example that can really make this even more clear. Let's say you pack up an imaginary picnic and you go to the park to eat it, and you pick up your imaginary banana and you peel it and you eat your imaginary banana. And you can imagine that it's really sweet and delicious, or that it tastes horrible. Either way, you're still not full, are you? And what A Course in Miracles is teaching us is that all these sources of fear are all rooted in delusion. They're all rooted in things that aren't real, so they can never satisfy you. And yet the ego clings to them as if they were real, as if they're giving you something, but they're not. Fear is not giving you anything. It never has, it never will, and it's not protecting you. It's actually the source of all of your pain and suffering. Fear will never protect you. Now, I'm not talking about biological fear where you maybe get a rush of adrenaline because a tiger's chasing you. I'm talking about any source of psychological fear is not real. Because we're taught again, A Course in Miracles, is that if you knew who walked with you, fear would be impossible. You, beloved, Son of God, mighty, perfect, whole, and complete, are indomitable. Now, I'm not saying that things can happen to the biosuit. They can, but you're not your biosuit. I have emphasized many times that the Holy Spirit will never call upon you to sacrifice anything. It says never, never will you be asked to sacrifice anything. But if you ask the sacrifice of reality of yourself, the Holy Spirit must remind you that this is not God's will because it's not yours. There is no difference between your will and God's. If you did not have a split mind, you would recognize that willing is salvation because it is communication. It is impossible to communicate in alien tongues. You and your Creator can communicate through creation because that, and only that, is your joint will. A divided mind cannot communicate because it speaks for different things to the same mind. This loses the ability to communicate simply because confused communication does not mean anything. A message cannot be communicated unless it makes sense. How sensible can your messages be when you ask for what you do not want? Yet as long as you are afraid of your will, that is precisely what you are asking for. So, when we're asking for misery, God can't grant us misery because misery is not real. When we're asking for more, when we're asking to reinforce our victim status, God can't grant us that. Now, ego can. So are we going to be host to God or hostage to ego? Because God's will is that you know your greatness and that you know who you are, who and what you are, perfect, whole, and complete. And that you live in joy, and that you do not fight reality, but revel in it. And that's your will. It is not your true, authentic will to grovel and beg for scraps. But your ego will have you doing that for your entire life if you don't ever wake up and accept the truth that only love is real. And that in reality, your will and God's will is one and the same. And you could only never think it wasn't if you were lost in a delusion and being held hostage by ego. So, for today, right here, right now, let's remember that fear of the will of God is the strangest belief the human mind ever made. We are safe to let go because reality is safe. You are safe. We don't have to fix, force, change, or control anything. Our part in God's plan is so simple and so pleasant and so easy that the ego resists it because the ego wants complexity. Your part is so easy. It's to accept reality and to be your true, authentic self. Let's start with that and see where things go from there. Remember, only love is real. When you accept reality, you are accepting the true nature of things. And because reality did not create consciousness, but consciousness created reality, that when you accept the truth, you will be in heaven. You will be at peace. I'm not saying you won't ever see the nightmare. You can be in the world, but not of the world. But it's like standing in the eye of the storm. You might see things being whipped around and in turmoil around you, but you will be in perfect stillness. You might still be here as a way shower, as a light in the dark, as a beacon of hope, but you will no longer be caught up in that storm because you'll recognize it's not real. It's perceptual. It's based on delusion and illusion. It's based on egoic constructs. It's based on hierarchies. It's based on things that are not real, that are just man-made, ego-made constructs. And you will be aware of your endowmental nature, that you are whole and complete and sovereign, no longer controlled by that. You may insist that the Holy Spirit does not answer you, but it might be wiser to consider the kind of questioner you are. You do not ask only for what you want. This is because you are afraid you might receive it, and you would. That is why you persist in asking the teacher, who could not possibly give you what you want. Of him you can never learn what it is, and this gives you the illusion of safety. Yet you cannot be safe from truth, but only in truth. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for the work that you do to liberate yourself and liberate those around you by your mighty example. Thank you. I love you. I'll see you soon.